integrative consent is that any decision can be revisited at any time, meaning that we are only making decisions that are good enough for now. And the reason this works is that if you have a model that's a little more rapid than consensus, then it's relatively easy to revisit a decision. If you're sort of stuck in a consensus process that doesn't move very quickly, the idea of revisiting decisions is not a good one, right? So it requires a switch in process to get to that more agile place of being, oh yeah, we can make a good enough decision right now, and if it doesn't work or something needs to change about it, we'll come back to it and update our decision. So that's an important context to hold, though, as we walk through this process. So first step is to create a proposal. And in Collab, we really encourage the use of this idea of a tension holder. So a tension holder is someone who's bringing an item up for consideration for a team. And if it's a decision, let's say it's a new pattern that needs to get established, then that individual becomes the tension holder, something of a shepherd of this process through various steps. So I'll name how that tension holder works in the decision-making process. So in our proposal step, it's the tension holder that either comes to the table with a proposal, or if they don't, and that's fine if they don't, they can ask for some proposal surfacing. So this would be basically some open discussion until that tension holder can articulate a proposal. And it doesn't have to be perfect, does not have to be comprehensive. It just has to be something that's good enough to get on paper, get in writing so that we can all see it. Before moving out of step one, it's pretty important to get that agreement in writing. And the reason for that is that we all invariably hear things differently. And unless we have something consistent that we're all looking at, it's likely that we will all be thinking we're making a different decision. So really important to get it in writing. Once you have it in writing, and remember it's the tension holder that's helped us get it in writing, then we move to questions and comments. And this is typically done by round, not by open discussions. That means one person at a time. And the facilitator will ask us to ask any questions we have and make any comments we have, including a better idea, any personal dislikes you have, any objections you think you might have to it. But basically, they can say anything they want. If they have questions, it's the tension holder's job to answer those questions, or the tension holder can delegate that to someone else if they think they have the capacity to answer that question better than they do. During the questions and comments, the tension holder is listening for anything that they want to change about the proposal. They don't have to change anything, but often a lot of really good stuff comes out in questions and comments. And so during the amend, the third step, the tension holder amends the proposal. So they're going to literally change it however they want to. And at the end of that, we have a new version of this proposal, also in writing. And we're ready after that to move into the fourth and final round, which is where we integrate our objections. And the key thing here is to understand what are objections. And in particular, we like to think of objections as something that's going to cause harm to the team or the organization. So any articulable reason that what's up there in front of me is going to cause harm. And there are several things that do not constitute valid objections, which we'll dig into more a little bit later in our time here today. But the first concept is that they are not a personal dislike. For example, I don't like the color purple, does not constitute an objection to a decision that Rebecca might be putting forward about how to change our branding. Now, conversely, I might say our customer base doesn't like purple, and look, I have evidence here. We did that survey a few months ago, and look, everyone hated purple. Don't use purple, right? But if it's just my personal, I don't like purple, not a valid objection. Also, they're not a better idea. It's not that we don't want better ideas, but those need to be surfaced in questions and comments. When we get into competing better ideas at this stage in the game, we are going to burn time and calories like anything, just like with that whole, humans love to compete around who has the best idea. And so if it's a better idea, you can encourage that person to bring it up at a later point if this decision needs to be updated, but not at this point. And last but not least, objections are not a predictive concern for which you have no current data. If you have current data, like I just mentioned, look, we did that survey, customers are going to hit the purple. While that's predictive, it's not really because we did a survey, right? So some kind of data that shows that what you are seeing is going to cause harm. So the first is to recognize that there are these validation criterion, and you and your team can discuss those. You can decide you want different ones, whatever it may be, but decide what does it mean to have an objection. And as you go through into integrate, you want to take time to surface all your objections. You go around one person at a time and just ask them, do you have any objections? Yes, no. If it's a yes, you want to record those. Just record the title of it and go through and surface all of the rest of the objections. And then go back, pick the objection that you think would be the best one to start with, and you want to ask your objector what's going to move, what's going to integrate this objection for you, how can we change this proposal so that it no longer causes the harm that you see it causing. And we integrate those objections one at a time via open discussion, so everyone gets to participate, although often it's helpful to sort of lean on that objector and say, hey, well, do you have a good idea about how do we integrate this? And once you have no further objections, you have a passed proposal.